Hey guys, so today we're going to do a community reaction video here, where it's one of these videos where I know a lot of people generally like watching, or not even just watching, but like having these videos on in the background and just like having them play while they do something else. So, you know, every once in a while I do like to release videos like this, and it's also a good way to be able to interact with the community because I'm directly responding to your comments. So in this video, I made a tweet, now it's 2 days ago. Here it is. I guess it's easy content and a good way to interact with the community. So reply to this post with your Dragon Ball Legends unpopular opinion for a chance to appear in a video. So I'm going to be going through all the, well, not all the comments. There's 400 comments on here with, I'm assuming, a bunch of additional replies to each comment. I'm going to be going through as many replies as is realistic within this video. I mean, this might end up being a longer video. We'll see. And I'm going to give my thoughts and responses to each of these unpopular opinions. So whatever order they show up in is the order I'm going to go in. So let's just go ahead and click it and get started. Okay, so the first one, excluding fusions, the summonable ultra choices are horrendous compared to what actual moments feel truly hit that caliber of deserving a new rarity. Father, Son, Kamehameha, first time Super Saiyan Goku or Vegeta, etc. I mean, I understand that line of thinking, yeah. Like if we pull up the ultra list here, like I don't really think a lot of people would consider Universe 6 tournament hit a more worthy ultra candidate than like Father, Son, Kamehameha, Gohan. But I guess my rebuttal, not even rebuttal, but just response to this would be, are they obligated to give us only the most hype portions of the series as ultra characters? I mean, it would make sense for them to do that. I would actually argue that out of every single ultra character here, including free-to-play ones, maybe not Vegeta. Vegeta's like the least deserving one here. The biggest surprise in terms of what they released has got to be this Blue Kaioken Goku, man. This is not even the Blue Kaioken Goku that fought Hit, where the form debuted. This is the Blue Kaioken Goku that fought Jiren in the Tournament of Power, and he got crushed in like 4 seconds. He lost instantly to Jiren. And then, of course, the most famous, the most well-known scene of Blue Kaioken Goku in the Tournament of Power is when he does the Spirit Bomb. This Goku doesn't even do that. This is probably one of the more puzzling decisions they've ever made still. This is the second ever summonable ultra character. This Blue Kaioken Goku. Why? Like, it makes no sense. What? I remember when they announced this guy, we were all so confused, and I'm still confused. Like almost 2 years later, I'm still confused. Why? Why is this a summonable ultra in the game? So I mean, there are some very clear characters that should not be here. Like, I don't think Dirty Fireworks Vegeta, even as a free-to-play ultra, deserves to be here. I don't think Blue Kaioken Goku from the Tournament of Power deserves to be here. I would say everybody else on here, though, probably deserves it. I know a lot of people would probably like look at Hit and say he doesn't really fit in with the rest of the characters here. I am definitely a bit biased because Hit is probably my favorite new character introduced in Super. And the Hit versus Goku fight in the Universe 6 tournament was one of my favorite fights in Super. In fact, it is my favorite. It is like my actual favorite fight in Super. But certainly there are more deserving characters, right? Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Father, Son, Kamehameha, Gohan, Frieza, Cell, right? There's a lot of characters here that, you know, that don't have ultras, that should have ultras at this point, but don't. But I don't know if they're really obligated to, you know, always put out the hype stuff, like in consecutive order. Tag Gammas and their teams are on the same level of annoying as Goku and Frieza and Ultra Vegito Blue, but people are not ready for this conversation. Well, okay, so the Gammas, let me see. The Gammas are, I mean, you only see them, I mean, they're only on androids and movies, correct? Yeah, androids and movies. I mean, I think with this character, because I actually recently have tried running them on a Blast variant of movies with, like, who else did I run them with? Because I think it was with the Gogeta video, the Green Zenkai Gogeta video. I think it was, yeah, it was the Gammas, Orange Piccolo, and then Green Gogeta. And honestly, the Gammas feel like half as strong on the movies team as they do on the androids team. The androids team being toxic is an interesting take, I think. I would probably say this is definitely a pretty unpopular opinion because I definitely don't hold the same opinion as him. I do think androids is the best team in the game right now. Purple Cell, the Gammas, 17. You got Magenta, who's really good. Even the Zenkai Yellow Cell is really good. You have characters like Android 8 you can just throw on there if you don't have access to the full optimal setup. You have like Red Cell, who's still pretty decent too. They have multiple HP buffers. So I mean, the team is looking pretty damn strong. This is probably the strongest the androids team has ever been since like the second month of the game being out, when they were the best team in the game. So yeah, in terms of being annoying though, I mean, there are certainly instances where I feel like the Gammas are just too strong, and I think the Gammas actually are probably too good. I think they did make them a little bit too good, but I don't know about annoying. Like, you talk about an annoying character, I think Ultra Vegeta Blue to me is the most annoying character, just because he is basically a modern variant of this character, Tag 17 and 18. Now, he's obviously not as oppressive as 17 and 18 were back when they came out. But keep in mind, VB also has access to that green card that just makes it so annoying to even try and attack him. It just takes away from the momentum of the game. I would not agree with this, but I could sort of see where he's coming from. Every tag unit that had a Vegeta has been shafted. Well, that's certainly not true. Do I even want to call that? What's the best way to even find this? I gotta find a Vegeta. So we gotta scroll down 4 years ago to find a Vegeta here. Vegeta family. I don't know if I would even call that an unpopular opinion. I think I just call it wrong, right? I mean, these guys certainly were not shafted. The Tag 4s? The Tag 4s certainly aren't as good anymore because their team has not been touched in forever. I would probably also just say that they, at this point, have been power crept. So even if GT does get like a massive buff during Legends Fest, which I think is pretty likely, I don't know how much we're going to be seeing this character return. I mean, they definitely could still see some play. I'm not saying they're just completely steamrolled, but they're definitely this character on release was like top 2 in the game, if not just straight up number 1 with the GT setup that they had access to. And then everybody knows how strong the Tag Blues were, right? I would certainly agree that Vegeta and Trunks, definitely the Vegeta side of Vegeta and Trunks was like, I mean, it's one of the most disgraceful LF designs of all time, I think. And then this character as well. Vegeta side of the Buu duo is like, it's actually obnoxious how badly he was designed. So again, there's merit to this, but saying every tag unit is just wrong because the blues and the 4s were good on release. Legends is more fun to watch than just to play. I mean, yeah, this is a very, I don't think this is an unpopular opinion, but I have noticed that a lot of viewers that I had, not just me too, it's other other creators as well. A lot of people watching our videos don't actually play the game. They just like watching the game. And I think that's true for a lot of games too. Like, this is, I guess, more of a comment on modern day gaming culture than it is just on this game in general. But like, I think a lot of the streaming culture that has popped up over the past even like decade now has morphed a lot of people into not even playing the games for themselves, but more so indulging in the game by watching people play the game. And I think that's definitely becoming even true in mobile gaming. We see with Legends here. Again, a lot of viewers that I have, and if you're watching this and you're one of them, I mean, you know, right? A lot of people don't even play the game. They just like, they enjoy watching it. Or they used to play the game and they don't play anymore. Or they are playing the game intermittently and are taking a break or whatever it is. They don't play actively all the time. So yes, I would agree with this 100% for sure. That is a mindset that a lot of people have right here. More fun to watch than it is to play. Yeah, definitely. I got one. Revival Orange Piccolo and Revival UI Goku are 2 of the best and most well-designed Revival units in Dragon Ball Legends. They get a lot more hate than they really deserve, and the metas that they were in were rough. Don't have Revival Captain Ginyu, and I've barely played against him, so unfortunately can't really comment on how he compares to them. I would actually... This is tough, actually. Would I say Ginyu is just a better designed character than Revival Piccolo and Revival UI Goku? I probably would, yeah. Ginyu's design is phenomenal, right? When he first got announced and we looked at his kit and they showed his details and the reveal and stuff for him, people were automatically writing him off as just some terrible option. Like, why would you ever use a revival character that has a chance to revive? And a lot of his value is then locked behind you potentially failing to get the revive. It's like a coin flip to be able to play the game, right? So a lot of people looked at that and they were, not fully grasping and understanding how his kit worked. I mean, this is how it happens with a lot of characters these days. And the reason is just because a lot of characters have so much involved with their kits that it's very hard to just look at characters on paper and see what they're doing and making an actual, accurate conclusion as to how good that character will perform in game. It's not possible. It's not really possible to do anymore, right? These characters have paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of mechanics. There's new mechanics. There's unique gauges. There's weird interactions between mechanics that characters have. So there's just a lot that goes into what makes characters good in this game at this point, especially when we have, again, just like actual novel length passives, right? So, and unique abilities and main abilities and green card effects and blue card effects and Zenkai buffs and ultra abilities and leader slot perks and different teams you can run them with and how the interactions work. Like, there's just way too much going on to be able to just sit down, look at a character's kit and say, this is how I evaluate the character, because a lot of the times it's just not going to work out that way. Right, so with Captain Ginyu, a lot of people went in, to the Captain Ginyu release week and instantly wrote him off as not worth it. But people soon found out that he's actually doing a lot for the team, and it's really not that hard to get his revival, assuming that you're actually using him the way he's supposed to be used. So with UI Goku and Orange Piccolo, I actually would say they're pretty different, right? Because UI Goku is more so of a character that was designed to be used with Ultra Hit. And the reason why, let me pull up UI Goku and Ultra Hit. What's the best way to do this? Universe reps. So let's pull up UI Goku and Ultra Hit here. The reason why these characters were designed to work well with each other, and there's a reason they were only released 15 days apart. What they wanted you to be able to do is they wanted you, and they designed this specifically for this reason, this main ability. They wanted you to be able to start a combo with somebody on your team, have this Goku switch in, or even maybe start a combo with this Goku himself, pop this main ability, you draw a full hand of cards, and you get covered all for 10 counts, and you were supposed to be able to chain this main ability into Ultra Hit being able to switch in and grab his green card and just time skip and kill someone for free. That's the design of this Goku and when it came out, right? And then once you did that, you then have the backup of this guy transforming into UI Goku. And of course, this UI Goku, I mean, I believe this is still the case. This UI Goku, I think, still has the only ranged blue card or just ranged attack in general that nullifies endurance, right? So if you're this green UI Goku, for example, and I've seen this happen like literally dozens of times, and you pop his main ability at like long range, and you're fighting a character that has endurance, and the character that has endurance is sidestepping, you kill them, right? Because the character is sidestepping and you pop your main ability, you grab your long-ranged endurance nullifying, beam-based blue card, and you just kill him with this Goku. No one else could do that. On top of that, he has a unique gauge, he can stall, he works exceptionally well with Blue 17 as well, right? Having access to a dodging UI Goku with his unique gauge, on top of having 17 who has access to double vanish gauges, that works. They work together extremely well. So I would agree that UI Goku was very well designed as well. People really just didn't understand what he was meant to do on release, I don't think. And then for Orange Piccolo, I think we're actually still in the phase where people are still underrating Orange Piccolo. Right? I'm not sitting here and saying that Orange Piccolo is some savior and he's some ridiculously strong character, because let's be real, he's not. This character is not some ridiculously powerful unit. That's not what I'm saying. But this character, like, people are looking at this character and they're evaluating him from the wrong lens most of the time. This is not a character that's going to be switching in and just killing everything. Well, I guess prior to transforming. Post-transformation, he does have some very strong offensive potential. But people's complaints about this character, the area that I think they are correct with is that this character post revival is way too fragile, considering what his unique age is designed to do and what he as a character is designed to do as well, right? This character is designed to, and this is true post and pre-transformation, he's designed to switch in and lower your card draw speed and lower your arts card power and be able to tank and end the combo and reset the playing field. That's what this character is supposed to be doing. Then when that's done, he's gonna heal your team, he's gonna support your team with damage, and he's gonna supply your team with green cards. Right? This character is not going to be, you know, you're not, this is not one of these characters where it's like you're chaining millions of cards in with Covenant active, and you know, he's getting his vanish back constantly, he's going type neutral. He doesn't do any of that stuff. But he is helping the team in a lot of other intangible ways that are going to be beneficial to teams as we move into the future. Now again, I am not saying that this guy is exceptional, because he's not. Straight up, he's not exceptional. But I do think that the way that this character is designed, he is going to outage a lot of other strong characters that we have right now in the game. I would not be opposed to this character getting a unique equipment, potentially. I think when you compare this character to essentially every other character that released even reasonably around him in terms of time, right? So prior to the anniversary, we had Kid Buu drop. Then we had Goku and Frieza drop. Then we had this guy drop alongside the Gammas. Then we had Ultra Vegito Blue. Then we had LF Purple Cell. Then we had the Ginyu. Then we had Ginyu and the Ginyu Force. Then we had LF Namek Goku, right? All these characters that released around him were all better than him, right? I mean, that's just a fact. So this is one of the weaker releases that we've seen, but I think people are not correct when they call him bad, right? He is not bad. I would agree. If you're going to make a comment about this character and you're going to call him underwhelming for what he should have been, that is 100% an accurate statement, and I agree with that. So again, I am in favor of this character potentially getting, not a Zenkai, obviously it's way too soon for that, but I think if they're going to go back to doing unique equipment for LF characters, this is going to be a character at the top of the list, I think. So I would be in favor of that, but again, he's not so bad to the point where it's like he's terrible. A good comparison of this character, not even a good comparison, but just a different LF character in the past that we can point to as like a terrible release that did not age well whatsoever is, let me see if I can pull him up actually. He's not on, he's gonna be, we go back to the character list here. He is gonna be here. Is this guy. This guy on release was absolutely worthless, right? And the reason why he was worthless is because he was a damage dealing character with a cover rescue, and that was his cover rescue was literally his only form of utility that existed. So because he was a terrible damage dealer and he had no utility, like this guy literally was able to do nothing and impact the game in no meaningful way whatsoever. Whereas this Piccolo, yeah, he doesn't do damage, but he has other ways of impacting the game. Green card generation, heal, support. Yeah, he at least has a cover change. He lowers card draw speed. He lowers arts card power. He's green. There's a lot of blue units running around, right? So, I mean, there's ways this guy can impact the game besides just him doing damage. And I think that is a very important thing. And especially with him having a revive, I mean, that's like another very important part about this character too, by having a revive, a way that you can deter a Rising Rush from, like, you know, Ultra Vegito Blue, which is a very common thing. That's very valuable as well. So I do think this character will age well, but there are certain areas where I would have liked him to be better in, and hopefully they address that at some point here. But I would agree with this guy's comment, right? Revival Orange Piccolo and Revival White Goku are two of the best and most well-designed Revival units. I think that is true. I do. Okay, let's move on. Toshi and Amatu should swap places to see how much they... Yeah, okay. Let me show more here. Legends would be 10 times better if they allowed the community to vote for which unit gets their own unique equipment next. For instance, if we were allowed to vote for Dragon Fist getting his next, or the Super Saiyan Blues from Legends Fest, I think it would be better since we would get what we want. Yeah, I mean, they could do that. I don't really have an issue with that at all, right? I mean, they let us choose the Zenkai, right, once. I think, when was that? That was a while ago. So they let us choose the Zenkai, but it was, I think it was like 8 months after they had that vote, we finally got the Zenkai we wanted. I remember, too, it was the green Spirit Bomb Absorbed Goku got the Zenkai from that. He won the poll. That green Spirit Bomb Absorbed Goku actually ended up beating Yellow Cell for the Zenkai. And then Yellow Cell got his Zenkai. And he just was like 500 times better than that Goku. But yeah, I'd be okay with this. That's cool. Okay. GT Purple 17 is so underrated. And let me expand this. Oh my god. What? Jesus. Okay. You know what? Fine, Adam. We'll read this. GT Purple 17 is so underrated and is a very good 1% sparking unit, but still isn't being mentioned with being one of the tanky units, as he is easily overshadowed by other units like Blue Zamasu and Yellow Jiren. I can agree GT really isn't in a spot to compete in the meta, but this GT17 on androids is a monster tank unit. He tanks so well and his kit works amazing with LF MVP Purple 17. You mean Blue 17. And his 2 sub count lock-in can surprise green units, mainly Ultra Rosé, and just gets destroyed within 3 cards max. The 15% team heal is also good, and him not even being mentioned is really sad. The same thing goes for LF tag androids. Still meta, and can still destroy the team with drop combos and good timing and plays as LF tag androids damage ramp up and then blah, 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 blah. Okay. For LF MVP17, is there really anything I could say? He's the unit, one of the best design units ever, and he will take LF Future Gohan's spot. Just wanted to add one last thing. The team GT Purple 17, LF Tag Androids, and LF MVP 17 is meta. This team I have been using since January 2023 when LF MVP 17 released, and I'm impressed to the point where I would say that this is an underrated Android team option. People do say that LF Tag Gamma is overall better than LF Tag Android 17 and 18, but I think the Tag Androids are way better. Now we're talking. Now that is an unpopular opinion. This guy thinks the Tag 17 and 18 character are better than the androids. Tag Gammas are good also, but I will go with Tag Androids because of the permanent endurance nullification. I mean, this does have a lot of value right now, especially in the mirror match, right? One of the only characters that actually just straight up like hard counters the android team, guess who it is? It's Full Power Frieza. When you're using the android team, the one character you really don't want to run into is LF Zenkai Full Power Frieza. Believe it or not. I know, his Zenkai was pretty bad, but that is a really nightmarish character to fight with an android sub. You have no red units that you're going to be using. Nullifies endurance, right? I mean, he's pretty tanky too. I mean, he's actually a really good counter to the android team, but that endurance nullification again is a good mechanic to use in the mirror match when you're fighting other android users because of 17. Very limited units have this, and it plays a big part of either winning or losing, as many units have endurance, aka like LF Kid Goku from Path to Power has endurance, but LF Tag Androids can clear him because of what they have. They are just better over the Tag Gammas. Now LF Cell over GT Purple 17, I mean, this one is tough. This one is tough. Yeah, Cell could be really good in some situations, but the final explosion damage just isn't enough, really. I faced a lot of those 14-star Android teams with Z+ equips, but I don't see it working. GT Purple 17 is just a better unit that can eat and tank hits. Now that Cell is out of feature boost, I don't really see him at all. I mean, that is certainly I mean, this guy definitely understood what the post was talking about here. I mean, unpopular opinion. Yeah, this is definitely one of those. I mean, I'm going to disagree with everything you said. I think not only are the Gammas better than LF 17 and 18, but they're like 6 times better. 6, 7, 8 times better than them. This character takes way too long to get rolling. I mean, they can build up damage at a decent rate, right? They got to use up a lot of cards. They got to drop a lot of combos because they're gaining the extra damage support for the whole team as well as for themselves when they drop combo. They got to quick attack a lot. They got to tap attack a lot. They got to tackle a lot, and you have to just not get caught with them. Yeah, 17's green card is still really good, I think. 18's green card is still really good for the first time you use it. But, I mean, the Gammas just do way too much. The Gammas are actually unkillable. When you pair the Gammas next to 17, the blue 17, they can't die, right? Even against like VB, you switch in on a cover change with them, you take 2 hits, and they actually heal for more damage than VB does to them, and then you just go back into blue 17, and then you can't be rushed, and he's type advantage, and he's just killing everything. And then in terms of Cell versus Purple 17, okay, here's my thoughts on GT Purple 17. I actually have fought a few of him recently. I don't know why people are really going back to him, but like I fought 14-star Zenkai buffed full Z plus Purple 17s, and when you're using a real team, this guy just gets obliterated. Like, I think his biggest asset, let me see if I can pull him up just so I can show this. Purple. I think this guy's biggest asset right now, I wouldn't even say it's this is not his biggest asset, because there are so many characters that reduce sub count when the enemy rushes that this isn't even as this isn't even as impactful anymore, right? And on top of this, when you're comboing somebody, a lot of the times you're comboing a character that either can counter a rush with Goku and Frieza, or has endurance, or has a revive. So I don't think this is nearly as valuable as it used to be. I think his most valuable asset at this point is this. When the timer hits 150, and this has always been a powerful mechanic, but even now I think it's aged pretty well. He heals by 35% HP. That's a lot. You switch into this character early on and he takes a lot of damage, you can just heal it all off in 30 counts. This is a really strong mechanic. Ginyu has the same mechanic as this. It's pretty good. But unfortunately, there is no way I can say this character even comes remotely close to Purple Cell, unfortunately. I mean, again, he's not like a terrible unit, but I mean, come on. He's not touching Purple Cell. All right. Tag Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta are the best kit designed character as a tag character. They complete each other like no other tag character does. I mean, we don't have... How many tag characters do we have right now that we could even compare them to? The tag 4s. I mean, the reason why I think they're quote-unquote well-designed is because they're basically doing the same thing, aren't they? There's not much of a difference in what they're doing. Which might be the way to go in terms of designing tag characters moving forward. Right? I mean, Vegeta is the character that's supposed to be switching in and doing a lot of cards, not doing as much damage. And then Goku is the one who switches in and does more damage and fewer cards, and then ends the combo with a blue card, destroys enemy cards, gets his Vanish back. Oh, no, sorry, Vegeta destroys enemy cards. Goku gains cards and gets his Vanish back when he activates the blue card. I do agree this is a very well-designed unit, right? And they have pretty good defensive utility, too, with the sub-count reduction on allies when the enemy rushes or uses an ultimate, right? It's pretty good. Some other tag characters, Vegeta and Trunks, that's an L. We, of course, have the first tag character with Blue Goku and Vegeta here. We have the tag android. I would not say the tag androids were very well designed. Just gonna throw that out there. The tag 4s. Goku and Frieza. I mean... Boo Duo? Gammas? You know what, actually? These guys are well designed. Jason Birder and Rikuman Goldo. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think out of all the tag characters, I would probably say that this is a pretty fair opinion. The best kit design tag character. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Sure. I don't know why it keeps going back there. Oh no, did my thing... I think the order of the comments changed, whatever. Okay, we read that already. This unit will be the most hype Zenkai ever when it happens. I think they definitely be up there, but I don't think they would... Not future. I don't think they would eclipse this guy. If you were playing back when this guy got a Zenkai, which actually is when this character came out, same celebration, Legends Fest. This guy, his Zenkai was so, like, it was so exciting that people so many people tried to log into the game that the actual game just broke. And the game was live for like 20 minutes. And I was one of the few people who were able to actually use him and get a showcase out on him before the servers crashed for like, what was it, like 8 hours? Servers were down. Because how many people wanted to go in and use this guy's Zenkai? Like, I don't think this Zenkai is going to eclipse this guy's Zenkai. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think so, though. Blue Zamasu is still top 10. I mean, yeah, that's certainly an unpopular opinion that I'm going to disagree with. Yeah, this one we saw. This one we saw. I should have stopped making Legends videos. That's a pretty unpopular one. Ever since Tag 17 and 18 dropped, the game has significantly seen a decline in terms of enjoyment, fun, and overall content we've received. I think you could make that claim for a lot of characters. There's definitely people that say the same thing about Red Gohan. There's people who are probably saying this about Purple Broly. You know what? There are people who are probably saying that about this guy. Hold on. Let me see if I can find him. He's going to be here. There are people who are probably saying that about this guy. When this guy came out. The first banner ever. Wow, the game went on a massive decline. Well, as soon as they released Legendary Super Saiyan Broly on the first ever Legends Rising banner. Bardock. Another good example. People were probably saying that about Bardock. People were probably saying that about Goku. I mean, people were saying... I guarantee you people have been saying this about a lot of characters. I actually do think there is kind of merit to this, just because the androids introduced such a toxic, combo-heavy meta, and the game kind of has spiraled into a more intense version of that ever since the androids came out, which was the release prior to the 4th anniversary. But in terms of like the game declining in terms of enjoyment, I mean, that is obviously a subjective opinion. And I probably would say this is an unpopular opinion, yeah. Just because Dokkan or Legends did it first doesn't mean the other is copying. It's the same IP, so of course units will be similar in design. Do you mean design, or do you just mean like art? Because I've seen a lot of people talking like, oh my god, they use the Dokkan art. Like, you understand that art is like manga art. Or the art from the anime, right? Leader slots shouldn't be a thing. I knew this was coming. It ruins the whole thing about teams. You can just put 2 characters, for example, Saiyans, and a 3rd character LOE, and it can work, which is weird in my opinion. So I understand this take, yes. And at this point, I don't even know if I would call this an unpopular opinion, because I've seen a lot of people make this claim. I've seen a lot of people make this claim. I would agree with that to a degree, but I don't think when you break down what like the fundamental issues are in this game, I don't think the leader slot is like the fundamental problem with team building. I think the fundamental problem with team building is characters just being designed poorly, right? So I think one of the biggest examples of this is we have Jiren on LOE, right? Jiren on LOE is like one of the more annoying teams that I've ever fought. And it's a team that I actually still run into today. Jiren on LOE. Let me actually pull yellow Jiren here. This guy. So the team is Jiren, Goku and Frieza, and Revival Frieza. And what you do is you just put Jiren in the leader slot, and you can just juice up both Goku and Frieza and Revival Frieza with Zenkai buffs, right? I don't think that the leader slot allowing Jiren to be put on that team is the problem with the team. I think it's more so a problem, and this might be an unpopular opinion actually, but I think it's more of a problem with the Zenkai system. And I am on record saying that the Zenkai system is the biggest failure they've ever had in this game. It is the biggest mistake they've ever made, is the Zenkai system. And when I made that claim, I had a lot of people assumed that I meant the original version of the Zenkai system was the biggest mistake they ever made, which is definitely a part of it. I would say the Zenkai system as a whole is the biggest mistake they've ever made. But I'm not going to go ahead and disregard the current iteration of the Zenkai system and call the current iteration of the Zenkai system good. I think the entire premise behind Zenkai abilities is very, very stupid. It's really, really bad for the game. Zenkai abilities are bad for the game, period. I really do think so. And the ability to be able to put a character like Jiren onto LoE, but then also simultaneously juicing the hell out of your entire team, Revival Frieza and Goku and Frieza, with a million Zenkai buffs, while still having a character like this in the leader slot that has nothing to do with the rest of your team, and is still getting access to at least the Z abilities that the other characters in your team are getting. Like, that's strong. That is strong. But, you know, I don't think it's an ultimate failure of the leader slot itself, because the leader slot does allow for some interesting combinations. And I think without the leader slot, we would have instances where a lot of characters just see zero play. Like, honestly, how much play would Jiren see if you didn't have the leader slot? Probably almost none. I don't know the last time I've actually fought a Jiren that wasn't on LoE. I couldn't tell you, right? I don't know. Like a character, Orange Piccolo, right? This guy, we just talked about this character. This is a prime leader slot character that can really help a lot of teams that would need a character that has like a revive and can heal and can support and can disrupt combos. Like this is a powerful unit. Blue 17. This is like the most flexible character in the game. I think it is a good thing that you can take this character and basically slot him into any team and the team becomes better because of that. I think that is a good thing. I do. Again, that might not be a popular opinion, but that is what I think. Everything in this game feels more like a chore than actually having fun. Log in, free item, claim adventure, embark on adventure, 3 co-op matches, 3 special matches in that mode, at least 1 PvP win, let's battle, bonus battle, USTR, more PvP. I mean, that's what the game is, right? I would say that if you don't enjoy at least a third of what you just listed here, then you should probably just take a break from the game. I mean, maybe you just like PvP, right? I mean, I think that is valid. Like, if you're somebody who just likes PvP, but maybe you just hate doing like the daily missions and co-op you don't like, which I understand. I don't like co-op either. Maybe you don't like doing adventures. You don't like, doing Tournament of Power mode or whatever. And maybe you're somebody who just likes PvP. I can understand that as well. I do. But I don't know. I mean, is it really that annoying to do these things? They give out pretty decent rewards if you do them every day. I don't know. I'm torn on this. I mean, I get it, but eh. All right, we got Ultra Broly. He's better than every pre-Gogeta Blue Ultra. Maybe barring Super Vegito. But I would make the argument he's better than Super Vegito. So are you saying right now, or are you saying when he came out? I'm assuming he's saying right now because he's saying he is, right? I mean, the difference between this character coming out and this character now is that this character now has access to like that pseudo unique equipment where he gets like what, it's just a straight 20% more damage. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say he's better than Super Gogeta. I would probably say he's better than Blue Kaioken. Would I? Is he better than Blue Kaioken? The thing with Blue Kaioken is that like, can I find it? You guys know what I'm trying to find, right? This is gonna like this can't like be aged. The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. Seals enemies' strike arts. 2 counts. Oh, no, sorry. It's when he's faced with an enemy. 2 counts. This is a mechanic that will not really age, ever. You know what mechanic has aged extremely badly? Is this guy's unique gauge. Because when you have these defensive unique gauges, and guess what? Guess what other character this is going to age very badly on? Is Zenkai Sword of Hope Trunks. Like, sure, we're not there yet, where his gauge is going to become less and less valuable. But as characters become more and more offensively oppressive, that Trunks' gauge is not going to matter. Like, if that Trunks just gets one-shot by a blue card, what is his gauge going to do? Right? So, when you have these defensive gauges, like this Broly does, where they're reliant on you taking damage, they're going to age bad because defensive characters don't really age the greatest. Unless you are a very specially designed character like 17, like LF Blue 17, where his gauge will fill up even if allies get hit. Now we're talking. When you have characters like that, where even your allies getting hit fill up your gauge, you can have other characters on your team take the hits for you. Like with 17, you could have the Gammas just eat 1,000,000 hits. And then 17 gets his gauge, then he has double vanish, then he's still healing whenever the enemy uses a blue card, he's still debuffing them, he has an uncancelable endurance, like, yeah. There's a reason why 17 aged well, and a character like this Broly did not age well, even though they both have like a pretty comparable unique age in terms of the design. I would probably give the advantage to this Broly over Blue Kaioken Goku because of the equipment. Honestly, if it weren't for the equipment, I'd probably favor Blue Kaioken Goku just because this is still so oppressive. Right, you switch into this character in mid-range and you just tackle and the enemy can't do anything. They can't counter your tackle. So the enemy either has to vanish or they get comboed. This is actually toxic. This is an actual toxic ability. Broly doesn't really have a toxic ability besides the 1 in 20 fight thing where like you line up his green card to fill up your unique edge at the same time and then you lock somebody in and remove their vanish. Like that's a toxic combination, of course, but it's not a common thing you see with Broly. Legends should have separated modes for you to play depending on your mood. Like if I don't have any of the new meta units or just want to have fun playing, they should make a mode where only units that are about 1 year old are usable, or a mode where ultras aren't enabled. I could see them doing, I mean, they already have done this, right? Where they have certain LBR modes, battle royale modes, that are dedicated to characters that released within a certain time frame. Right, those seasons exist. I think what this guy's asking for is like a more permanent solution. So like basically a permanent mode in PvP, like a permanent LBR season where you can only bring certain characters, which I think would be fine. I'm not opposed to this. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. That sounds pretty cool. This is personal, but Red Rosé Zenkai was the most disappointing Zenkai ever released. I could definitely understand that. But the thing with Red Rosé, let's see if I can pull him up. Red. The thing with Red Rosé is this guy is a really good bench. Which I don't know if people really care about that, but he's a very, very valuable bench unit. 35% to God Key or Future, strike, attack, and defense. And then red powerful opponent. So if you're a powerful opponent character, if you're a red powerful opponent character that is also in God Key or Future, I mean, you're getting a lot of stats from this. Or if you're a red powerful opponent character that is just in the leader slot, you're getting a lot of stats from this. So this guy's a really good bench character, but I would agree that in terms of him actually performing in battle as a Zenkai character, like this was one of the coolest. I remember when this guy first came out. This guy came out alongside LF Green Vegeta. This guy was one of the coolest reveals ever because this was the first character that had like that aura around him that they've reused on a lot of units. This was the first character to have that. And I remember everybody was going crazy for this guy. And again, he came out with LF Green Vegeta, and nobody cared about Vegeta. Nobody cared about Vegeta. Everybody wanted this guy. So I can understand this, yeah. Free-to-play characters are really good for what they bring to the table and are actually competitively viable. They just get shunned because there's almost always a summonable character that does what they do but better, but it's to be expected since they are free. Okay. So I will make the argument that you contradicted your claim in your own tweet. So he's saying free-to-play characters are actually competitively viable. Okay, so then what that means is we have to define what is competitively viable. Competitively viable means you have the capacity to go up against the best characters in the game and have a reasonably decent chance of winning against those characters. Is that the case with a lot of free-to-play characters? I guess you could make the argument, right? So, like, what are the best free characters right now? Let me go up here. Let's go to, like, event exclusive. All right, what do we got here? This yellow Goku is very good. This green Vegeta is very good. I would say Demon King Piccolo actually is pretty good. This 18, I think, is actually pretty slept on. Who else? This Broly was pretty good on release. Super Boo was pretty good. Metal Cooler was like one of the most underrated free units ever. He was actually like, this was a competitively viable character, actually. Looking at this list, Metal Cooler, this green Vegeta, and like yellow Trunks stand out to me as like the quote unquote competitively viable units, not counting like the Ultras. The Ultras, I think, actually probably were. I think the best non-Ultra free unit probably was just this Trunks. Like recent free units was probably just this Trunks. I would say this Trunks is probably the only competitive, like the only free-to-play character out of everybody on this list that I would consider to actually have been competitively viable. Because here's the thing, right? Because he even says that. He even makes this claim in his tweet. There's almost always a summonable character that does what they do, but better. So why would I then use the free character? Right? Sure, maybe you don't have the summonable version. But here's the thing with this game. And this is the major difference between this game and Dokkan. In Dokkan, you can have characters that are good for certain events. Right? Maybe you have a character that's really good for the Omega Shenron event, but he sucks against like Red Zone Fusion Zamasu. That's fine though, because he's going to be viable in one of the most difficult fights in the game. In Legends, you are fighting the same characters every match. Right? Let's pull up the list. In Legends, you're fighting Ultra Vegito Blue. In Legends, you're fighting LF Namek Goku. In Legends, you're fighting LF Perfect Cell. You're fighting the Tag Gammas. You're fighting Goku and Frieza. And so you have to be able to compete with those characters. You have no choice. You don't have a decision as to whether or not, oh, you know, maybe I'm only good against certain characters and maybe I'm not good against others. Like that you can make that work in Dokkan because there's different events. But in Legends, you got to be able to stand up to all these units. You have to. Right? Vegito Blue has to be able to stand up to all these characters. Cell has to be able to stand up to all these characters. Namek Goku has to be able to stand up to all these characters. Ginyu has to be able to perform well against all these characters. The Gammas have to be able to perform well against all these characters. Goku and Frieza have to do as well. So you have to be able to compete with the best characters in the game. Otherwise, like, you're not usable. Again, in Dokkan, you can get away with maybe being really bad against certain fights because maybe there are other fights you're really good against, and that makes you viable in that way. But that's not the way it works in Legends. In Legends, you're not competing against the bosses. You're competing against other units. That's the main difference here. And so I think when you're talking about free-to-play characters, again, you made the claim in your own post here. There's almost always a summonable character that does what they do but better. And so with that in mind, they just instantly fall to the wayside in favor of the better summonable units that are doing what they do, but better, right? And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because it would be kind of strange if the free-to-play characters were as good or even better than the summonable units. We've had, again, some very, very rare cases where that was true, like with that Yellow Trunks. That Yellow Trunks was ridiculous on release. I think they probably made a mistake with him. I think they probably underestimated how good he would be, and they probably made him a little bit too good. But I think they're cautious, like they're intentionally, obviously, balancing the free-to-play characters around them not being better than the summonable ones for a reason. And because of that, they're not going to be, again, I guess it depends on how you define competitively viable, but they're not going to be competitively viable compared to the summonable units. It's just the way it is. Villains need more representation. Okay, this is a new one. If they release a new villain unit, they need to be on par with Goku and Frieza. Piccolo Jr. was a big disappointment. Okay, so let's break this down. So villains need more representation. I think there's two ways you can take this. So if we take a look at the villains here, I mean, I guess we can sort of just break this down with powerful opponent. I mean, some villains aren't on powerful opponent. I still don't understand why Captain Ginyu is not on powerful opponent. He fought Goku, like he was the main antagonist of his Captain Ginyu. Like, I guess it technically wasn't the Captain Ginyu saga, but I mean, up until that point, like, he was the main guy they were trying to beat. He should be on powerful opponent. He fought Goku. He actually beat Goku. He beat Goku. He won. He beat Goku. He beat the protagonist, and he's not on powerful opponent. Okay, I don't get it. But most villains are on powerful opponent, right? So let's pull this up. So earlier this year, we had a lot of very, very strong villain releases, right? We had Hit, Rose, and Kid Buu, all ultras, all really strong, right? Then later in the year, we got, this purple cell. And then we had red cell first. Then we got purple cell. And then we got Mod Jr. This is such a disappointment. What were they thinking with this guy? I don't even understand. So I agree that Piccolo Jr. was a disappointment, but I don't really know if I would say that villains are underrepresented this year. Now, here's the second point that I'll make about this, and this is why I said you can spin this in two ways. How many times are you running into Hit? How many times are you running into Red Cell? How many times are you running into Kid Buu? How many times are you running into Piccolo Jr.? Even Rose, I mean, I'll run into like one Rose every 10 fights. Cell is probably the most common just because he's the newest one and probably the best one here. I'd probably run into Cell maybe once every 5 fights, I'd say. Once every 4 fights. But the difference between now and when all these villains were popular is that we had the anniversary. And here's where the second point comes in. They almost never release any representation for villain characters during these major celebrations. So Anniversary and Legends Festival, we almost never get, when do we get villains during the celebrations? I guess if you want to consider like Full Power Broly a villain, we got LF Full Power Broly during Legends Fest 2 years ago as a headlining LF character. Like, sure. I guess you could make that claim. Sure, whatever. This guy got a Zenkai during Legends Fest last year. Sure. Whatever, man. I guess if you want to count that, then it'd be my guess. But when it comes to like Ultra or LF villain characters, we just don't get them during big celebrations. And Anniversary and Legends Festival tends to be when we get the most impactful releases. So I could kind of understand where he's coming from here, right? Even though we got very good villain representation earlier in the year, right? We got 3 villain ultras. We got a ridiculously strong LF here. We got one of the best non-LF, non-ultra sparking villain ever with this Red Cell, like really, really strong unit. This guy we don't talk about. But when it comes to representation right now, I mean, it's just villain representation is pretty low. I would agree. And I forgot about Ginyu because he's not on here, but Ginyu also falls into the same bucket as well. I would probably slide him more into the same bucket as Cell. I do see him pretty often actually. Purple Revival Ginyu. But it's just the fact that they don't release villains during these Anniversary and Legends Festival celebrations that reduces how often we see them in PvP, I think. I would like to see more OG Dragon Ball or Universe 6 units in the future. Goofy cards like Zerloin and Rabanra and Zarbuto are always welcome. Yeah, so this is... Dokkan just released these trio as a summonable banner character. I mean... sure. I don't know. It's a lot easier for Dokkan to make these characters than Legends, just because a lot more resources have to be invested into the creation of characters in Legends because of the models and animations and just the entire framework of the game is different. But I'm okay with that. OG Dragon Ball stuff is kind of funny because we just had the Dragon Ball campaign, and I feel like they really didn't even touch on most of the Dragon Ball stuff. I mean, let's pull up the DB tag here, I guess. I am very glad that they finally gave us the 23rd World Tournament. I'm really not glad that they suck. I mean, Goku actually, the funny thing about this Goku is this Goku before that equipment came out was pretty bad. Right? Let's be realistic about this. Let's not sugarcoat things. He was pretty bad before that equipment came out. But that by the way, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me pull it up here. This equipment had such a massive impact. Oh god, is this not in order? Here we go. This equipment had such a massive impact on how good the Dragon Ball team is that this Goku shot way up because of how much he's healing and supporting and just like providing intangible effects for this team. When your defensive capabilities go way up, the value of this guy's healing goes way up. And that's just something that Piccolo Jr. can't do. So I would say this Goku, his viability is just way higher than Piccolo Jr.'s is right now, which is kind of crazy. I just wish they would have made both these characters better. Right? The first time we've ever seen representation for the 23rd World Tournament in the game, and I would say both these characters are pretty subpar. And we just got the Ginyu Mega Rising banner. Well, we didn't just get it. It was like 2 months ago. But like these guys pale in comparison to Ginyu. Like it's not even close. But in terms of like regular OG Dragon Ball, like, yeah, we really didn't get any like Pilafs. We didn't get a General Blue. We didn't get a Mercenary Tao. We didn't get like a new Yamcha. We didn't get a Tien. There's no Kid Krillin in the game at all. I mean, we can just keep going on and on. We could have gotten like a tag Goku and Krillin character. Like a Dragon Ball Saga version of Yajirobe. Like a new Demon King Piccolo. I mean, we got a free character. Whoop-de-doo. Demon King Piccolo's children. We got Tambourine. We got Drum. We got Symbol. Like, there's a lot they could pull from. Devilman. Grandpa Gohan. There's so many OG Dragon Ball characters that are not here that they could put here. And it feels like we went through the Dragon Ball Saga celebration and they didn't really do much here. I mean, I'm glad that we got the Path to Power characters because, you know, we didn't have that in the game either. Got our first Sparking Roshi. We got our first buff Sparking Roshi. Android 8's cool. The design of most of these characters is really bad, I guess. Is another thing. Oh boy, I just saw his name. Vegeta and Trunks fan. Okay, let's see. Unpopular opinion. They should implement a trial system for units and they cycle through each season. Let's say somebody doesn't have LF MVP 17. If LF 17 is in the trial system, you'll be able to use him, but it will only be for that PvP season. Yeah, they will never do that. They will I mean, that defeats the purpose of summoning for the character. Not entirely, obviously, because you can only use them for the season. But I mean, this heavily disincentivizes people for to summon for characters because they'll just wait for the character to be available in the system. They will never do something like this. Okay, we got I think this is a Spanish comment. Let me go ahead and see if we can get the translate going here because I don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. Okay. The first thing is to present yourself properly. 70% of the Legends player base have no knowledge or criteria in their comments. When it is decided to select a certain number of players with weight and experience in the game, I will talk about Legends while I don't know. I think this is just like the translate tool not working the greatest, because I'm not really sure what this guy's trying to talk about. Let me see if I can read this one more time and decipher what he's trying to say. Present yourself properly. Is he talking like about giving feedback? I think this comment is in reference to providing feedback to the team. 70% of the Legends player base have no knowledge or criteria in their comments. When it is decided to select a certain number of players with weight and experience in the game, we'll talk about Legends. I think what he's talking about is how we as a community provide feedback to the developers. And that people don't think about their comments before like giving feedback. I guess I could understand that. I mean, I don't really think that's an unpopular opinion. I think most people actually agree with that. All right, we'll do a few more. This is almost an hour. We actually are over an hour now. Okay, we saw this. We saw that. Okay, we just saw that one. I got a few. Omen UI is top 10. Talking about Purple UI. Purple UI Goku is probably one of the more polarizing characters to evaluate because he's very meta. But by meta dependent, I don't mean dependent on the characters you're fighting, but regionally. Like in Japan, I see Purple UI Goku maybe once every 30 matches. Whereas in the US, you see him like, what, once every 5 matches? Maybe even less? So, I mean, it's a very different environment. So, sure, maybe in your region. Tag Force is the best designed tag game they've ever released. We actually already talked about that. I wouldn't disagree with this. There was never a time UVB was better than Goku and Frieza. Vegeta is more tedious to fight, but Goku and Frieza is miles clear kit-wise. I don't know if I agree with that. I think when UVB first came out, you could argue that he was better. I think UVB's presence and influence within the first 30 counts it was just so monumental, with almost no way to counterplay him, that you could easily make that argument. I would like Legends more if it was turn-based. Something like Dragon Ball Fusions. I thought they were going to give us a good turn-based mode, but it was TOP. Psych, it was just TOP. I mean, I don't know if they would, like... From the get-go of when they were developing the game, I don't think they ever really had the intention of it being a turn-based game like how Dokkan was. They very clearly marketed the game originally, when it first released, around it being an action game. And that's still how they market it. It's an action game that you can play on your phone. That's the whole allure to the game. And the reason why is because Dragon Ball as an IP already has a turn-based game, which is Dokkan, right? That's what the turn-based version of mobile Dragon Ball is. And they don't want to compete with themselves. So that's the reason why they designed a different game here. So I think that's, I don't know. But yeah, I agree with TOP sucking. Yeah, it's W. The current releases of the game have all been kind of iffy in a lot of situations. Kid Goku relies on too much RNG, a good example. Zenkais have become practically useless in higher ranks, and don't even get me started in free-to-play characters. I would agree with some of this. Current releases of the game have all been kind of iffy in a lot of situations. This one I would agree with, just because if we take a look at the Dragon Ball tag again, I mean, iffy. Less iffy, but still iffy. I mean, that's all the units that came out, besides Kid Goku. The entire DEB celebration was iffy, I guess. Zenkai is becoming practically useless in higher ranks. I would disagree with. I actually think this character right here, it's funny that like the summonable Sparkings were just all iffy, and now like we get to like the best non-LF Zenkai character maybe ever. No, not ever, because the OG Zenkai era was ridiculous, but this character is really good. This is a 1% sparking summonable level character. This is Zenkai Bulma. She's very good paired with Kid Goku. This Bulma paired with Kid Goku on a full DB setup with the equipment that we just saw. Like, this pairing is really powerful. Really is. It's a good thing that Goku and Frieza are the best character in the game. Slow power creep makes it easier for others to save Chrono Crystals for characters they want, rather than what is meta. Goku and Frieza being this huge benchmark that hasn't been surpassed yet is good. It's good for that. Okay, I mean, yes, there are aspects of Goku and Frieza being the best character in the game that are good. I don't think there's anybody who would disagree with that. Are there certain reasons? Well, I guess I should reword this. There are certain aspects of Goku and Frieza being number one in the game that are not bad. Sure. That's a pretty general take, but I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Slow power creep makes it easier for others to save Chrono Crystals for characters they want. So here's my rebuttal to this. And this is not a direct rebuttal to this, but it's more so of a critique that I have. I am not opposed to slow power creep, right? I don't think that's the worst thing ever for the game. But when you have a character that has been so dominant and so omnipresent for so long, something should be done to break up the monotony. And this is the same exact comment I made back before Kid Buu came out, when the game was pretty dominated by Ultra Gogeta Blue for many months at that point, like 3 or 4 months. Once a character gets to 3.5 months old, and they still are within that top 1 to 3 range, you start to want them to get countered. And that doesn't mean necessarily create a character that is just going to power creep them, right? I think the way that they handled Kid Buu's release for Gogeta Blue was a very, very good way of deterring Gogeta Blue's dominance over the game, right? Kid Buu is not just a straight up better character than Gogeta Blue, right? Kid Buu did not power creep Gogeta Blue out of the game, but he introduced a tool for players to utilize that can put Gogeta Blue in check because of what he was bringing to the table. I think we need something similar to that for Goku and Frieza. That's it. We don't need Goku and Frieza to get power crept. We don't need Ultra Vegeta Blue to get power crept. But we need characters introduced that can, be used as ways to deal with them. And that is exactly what we got with LF Namek Goku. And that's why I consider Namek Goku to be one of the better releases this year. Is because he really impacted the meta, because he took the 2 most dominant characters in the game. Well, most people would agree with that. Two of the more omnipresent characters in the game that are seen the most in terms of encountering them in PvP. And, really put them in the corner and made them, made the meta react to him. That's what I think we need more of. All right, we'll do 2 more. Just because a unit isn't top 10 doesn't mean they're unviable. Yeah, I mean, is that an unpopular opinion? Oh, I think we're at the point now where there are a lot of non-top 10 characters that are pretty good. Again, there's no way this Bulma is top 10. But I think she's really good. She's viable. All right, we'll make this the last one. Android 17 is one of the most oh boy. Android 17 is one of the most cancerous and unhealthy releases for the game. He essentially rewards you for losing and is able to abuse the leader slot and help teams that don't need it. On top of the fact that he's an LF, so he's pay to win friendly. I don't know if I could disagree with this any harder. I mean, this is certainly, this certainly fits the bill of the question of the prompt. Reply to this post with your Dragon Ball Legends unpopular opinion. I mean, this is certainly an unpopular opinion, I would assume. Most people would agree with that. All right, so let's break this down, I guess. Again, this will be the last comment we react to here. Android 17 is one of the most cancerous and unhealthy releases for the game. Okay, well, I can't really make a comment about that. Let's see what he claims here. Or let's see what his evidence is or his thoughts are on this. He essentially rewards you for losing. So he's talking about his unique gauge. Okay, so are you going to say the same thing about Sword of Hope Trunks? Are you going to say the same thing about Ultra Broly? He rewards you for losing because he builds up his unique gauge. Are you going to say... Are you going to say the same thing? Hold on. Pretty sure this guy has the same mechanic. Are you going to say the same thing about this Gohan? Doesn't he, like, get buffs when he gets hit? The following effects occur every time when hit with an enemy's strike, blast, or special move arts attack while this character's in the battlefield. 10% damage by allies. Health restoration to allies. He's debuffing. So are you saying the same thing about this green Gohan that is terrible? Yes, this Gohan is terrible. He is bad. Are you saying the same thing about this Gohan? Does this Gohan reward you for losing? I don't know if that's the correct terminology to use for this. He doesn't reward you for losing. I would say he more so mitigates the effects of you losing. Right, Goku and Frieza catch the 17 in a combo. Goku catches 17 with a green card. Goku is beating the living hell out of 17. 17 is still taking a lot of damage. 17 is still dying. But his gauge is mitigating how badly he's getting beaten up, right? It's helping him survive. I would not say that that is rewarding you for losing. I cannot agree with this claim. He is not rewarding you for losing. He's simply helping you not die from being destroyed by, you know, Goku and Frieza or Ultra Gogeta Blue or Ultra Rose or any of these characters that he takes a lot of damage from. And is able to abuse the leader slot and help teams that don't need it. But he's helping teams that need it too, right? I like abuse the lead. Isn't that the whole purpose of what the leader slot was designed for? For me to be able to take a team like DB that isn't as good as most other teams and slide in 17 on this team to help the team. Isn't that what the purpose of the leader slot is? On top of the fact that he's an LF, so he's pay to win friendly. I mean, you could just make the you could just make the same comment about every LF in the game, right? Oh, I don't know. Like, we can filter by LFs, right? Oh, I don't like, dude. This character's so unfair. He's an LF. He's so hard to pull. Dude, this character's so unfair. He's an LF. He's so hard to pull. Dude, this character's an LF. He's so hard to pull. This character's an LF. He's so hard to pull. Like, you can make the same comment about every LF in the game. Like, if you're gonna make this comment about Ultras at least. Yeah, I don't agree with this, and I would say that I don't even, like, for most of the comments that we saw in this video and that I reacted to in this video, I can at least understand the thought process behind them. This one I don't. This comment to me seems like a bait comment into me getting a reaction out of me that this is not something that he actually believes. Let me know if you agree with this in the comments below. Do you agree that 17 is one of the most cancerous and unhealthy releases for the game? Let me know. I would probably say this is the comment that I disagree with the most that we saw today. But there we go. That is going to conclude this video. We went through a decent amount of comments. So this video is an hour and 13 minutes. Let me know down below what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.